This episode of Podcast Portugal is brought to you by expatsportugal.com, your trusted online community for everything related to moving to, living in, or investing in Portugal. What really sets Expats Portugal apart is its welcoming, knowledgeable community. Whether you're just starting to explore the idea of life in Portugal or you're already settling in, you'll find live webinars, expert Q&As, member discounts, a vibrant forum, and friendly in-person meetups happening across the country. And just for Podcast Portugal listeners, you can get 15% off membership by using the code Podcast Portugal at checkout. That's Podcast Portugal, all one word and in caps. Visit expatsportugal.com today and start your Portugal journey with the support of people who've been there, done that, and are ready to help you do it too. This is Justin West from Podcast Portugal, and today we're joined by the Portuguese Kids, comedians turning Portuguese immigrant life into comedy gold. We talk culture, stereotypes, creative process, and why laughter brings the diaspora together. Brian and Derek, a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you for having us, my friend.
Hey. So can I start off? I'm going to start off with a nice question here. Let's start with your origin story. How did the Portuguese Kids come together? And when did you realize that there could be more than just a few funny jokes involved with this?
Brian, shall I start, or do you want to start?
Go for it, my friend.
Well, first of all, we grew up in the same neighborhood, so it wasn't so much as a hey, let's do this. It was more like an evolutionary thing. So it evolved into the Portuguese Kids because it started as just a couple of friends goofing off. Like we were always just trying to outdo ourselves with making each other laugh and whatnot. And I would say right in the beginning when we started to take this more serious was when we went to the Improv Asylum, which is a theater in Boston, Massachusetts, that has improv training. And that, I would say, is when we started taking things very serious, because we saw that there was this business model that we could kind of replicate. And so we took what the Improv Asylum taught us, not just on stage, but behind the stage. And we started to apply that towards our business model. But then we realized, okay, well, we can't just stay in this. We're big fish in a small pond, but the pond's just here. We gotta, the Portuguese pond, the proverbial pond, is everywhere. It's the diaspora is so spread out. So we realized to make this a real successful business, we have to hit the road, and that's kind of what we did. So the videos helped sell the tickets, but we were at the heart of our soul. We're a live performing group, and I think that we're very proud of that. We do a lot of live shows.
And it wasn't easy telling your Portuguese family that you're going to be leaving your full-time job to pursue comedy full-time. That was not an easy conversation, but
they're still waiting for us to get real jobs, right?
They're still waiting for us to get real jobs 20 years later.
And how do they take it? Do they take?
It wasn't easy, because to them it was the unknown. You're going to be doing a job. How are you going to pay how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to put food on the table for your family? And it was like, this is all part of life is trying to tackle that unknown. And sometimes we would circle around and tell them, it's like, look, you guys took a chance coming here with nothing, and look what you've accomplished just by sticking with it. And I think that's what we took with us when we wanted to make the Portuguese Kids happen. It was, let's go all in on this. Let's take the chance, see what we can do here, and it's just every day. You don't have a day off when you're doing something you love, and it just persevered. But it took a lot of convincing. Obviously, in the beginning, things were slower, but as things moved on, our parents saw the progression. They understood what was happening, and it was more than just us filming silly videos with our cell phones in the basement. Now it's like, this is a business. We're
wait a minute. It's not just filming silly videos in the basement. We still do that, Brian.
Yeah, I was just trying to spruce it up for the podcast.
So you
luckily,
guys, let's get the
our
ground.
Parents loves what we did. As far as material goes, they appreciate what we did. They had a good sense of humor, and I think that's a huge part of it. Because if they thought we weren't funny, then I don't think they would be even like half as encouraging. But they really pushed us at a certain point because they knew we had something great here.
Yeah. I mean, let's get this. Let's get the groundwork clear here for all the listeners. You guys are the sons of Portuguese immigrants to the U.S., right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Our
So you
parents are
weren't born
first
in
generation.
Portugal. Yeah. Yeah. So you're first generation. So you're looking at your parents as like a reference point to your comedy and what it's like growing up as Portuguese kids, basically.
Yeah, but not just in our house, but in our actual. We've been blessed because we were born and raised in Fall River, Massachusetts, and believe it or not, that this city, especially growing up, was predominantly Portuguese. I mean, probably 60-70% of the city. So it was more than just in our house, but it was really just like this whole environment. We really grew up, and people even joke that our city has a bridge called the Braga Bridge, and there's a joke that says it's the longest bridge in the world because it connects the United States to Portugal, because that's how Portuguese Fall River is. So we really did have this blessed way of looking at life as kids, because like we had this really cool. It was almost like our parents' village just left and then reestablished the village in Fall River, and we took that with us, and it definitely shows in our comedy.
Yeah. So what is it that stands out? Do you think what is it that makes the Portuguese immigrants so different in the U.S. to the locals?
To the locals out there, I think, the biggest thing is that, when our families immigrated out here, technology wasn't where it is now. So they were cut off from the news back home. Maybe they had the Portuguese channel here that could catch it, but there was a big disconnect from everything going on back home. So what a lot of our communities did was they held on to these traditions from the old country, and we do them here, like whether it's making our own wine, smoking chouriço, doing going to the festas, doing folklore, pimba, all these different things. And maybe a lot of people in the old country now aren't doing that, but like a lot of us held on to those traditions because we were the only ones doing them. We couldn't, depend on the community we were living in to do that because, again, we're living with other ethnicities. But a lot of us we still held on to those traditions because it was a piece of home that we wanted to make sure we could all have here.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, some people still smoke their own chorizo over here, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But we would get a couple like over the years. Oh, no one does that anymore. It's like, well, here, like we definitely still do that. Like we'll do a scene where a woman dresses in black because she's a widow for 20, 30 years, and uh, people will actually message us like, "Oh, we don't wear black anymore." It's like, well, listen, man, I've known many a woman that wore black for the rest of their lives when their husband died. So, like, it's definitely something that, it's almost like a time capsule in many ways. So,
There's a
and
lady
it's been
like that in
great.
our village. We drive out of our village. She's always sitting outside her little house in Gasparonge, in Alentejo, and she sat there every day. It's really funny because she waves at the car if my wife's driving, but she doesn't wave if I'm driving.
That's hysterical. That is funny.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great. It's like he's not Portuguese.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
nice. He's nice. He eats, but that's it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. But how you sort of poke fun at the Portuguese family life and the language quirks and cultural traditions and
Of
sort of
course.
how do you balance that humor with sort of respecting your parents?
Well, because like I guess in the end, the window that we're trying to show you was this balancing act, especially for sons and children of immigrants, because we're living two lives. We're assimilating into the country we're living in, but we're also inside the house, Casa Portuguesa. It's the Portuguese traditions. So there was a lot of balancing there. And then, and for our parents as well, having to assimilate in, speaking English. So there were some times where, something was said wrong or whatever. Um, so we highlight those things. And for the most part, too, we try to make it so it's like, because we don't want people to think like our families are dumb. Our families are, the fact that they could come to another country, barely speaking English, still get a job, get a house, support for their family. I mean, to us, that's an inspiration. But we highlight the getting there. It wasn't easy getting there, but we've all went through it no matter where we go around the world, whether it's in the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia. That immigrant experience is all the same. and just in outside of the Portuguese culture as well. And we see a lot of that. And it's the comments we get back because that's what it was. We were juggling two lives and it wasn't easy getting there. So there's some jokes to be had, but we try to be, good about making sure that we're not painting ourselves in a bad light, because the joke isn't the accent. The joke is the situation that we're in right now. You know what I mean?
And
It's
a
a
lot of
situational
people,
comedy.
especially in the beginning when they didn't quite get who we were, what we were about, a lot of, especially people from Portugal or the Azores, they would message us and say like, you guys, you guys are Portuguese, like, we're Portuguese. It's like, listen, yeah, you're right. We're Luso-American, and like this is the experience that we grew up with. So we realized that there is a fine line between like poking fun and like having fun, and we really try to have fun and not poke fun because that's to us, we don't like to punch down in comedy. I think for us, we try to, and a lot of our comedy is just fish out of water. Like, how would a Portuguese dad react to this situation? And like really, that's just a lot of funny situations because even if it's absurd, we'll say or do a line or say something that will resonate with somebody, and they'll be like, "Yo, this happened to me, when I did this." So a lot of it is just our experience, and I think that's why we've been able to foster this career for over 20 years, is because we're authentic to what we grew up with, and a lot of people, I think lose sight of that who don't get it, but we've been very blessed and very lucky. We don't really have a ton of haters. Of course, there are people that don't like what we do, and that's okay too, because there's tons of comedians that I don't appreciate. So it's just the nature of the game, like you can't make everybody happy, but we've got our fan base and they love what we do. And I mean, we really can't ask for more.
The other piece is, which is always nice, is that we have, we've been doing this for 20 years, so the fan base keeps growing, but sometimes we get some of like the best stories from our fans. Like, this reminded me of a time when this happened, and you're just like, it sounds so crazy, but it sounds so relatable because it's like I could see my parents doing this. So sometimes we'll get something from fans and we'll make a sketch based on that. We'll use their names in the sketch as a thank you. But like, it's so great to hear these stories, as crazy as they may seem, but it's like, yeah, no, I could imagine my parents doing the same thing in this situation. It's amazing. We all went through this together.
Yeah, I think also the Portuguese have, generally speaking, have a pretty good sense of humor as well. I don't think they're not very stuck up, so they love to have a laugh. I know that my wife's family, it's just really long lunches, and probably 3/4 of the time it's just laughing hysterically.
Yeah. And then it's the Portuguese long goodbyes for another half hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm an actual immigrant from the other way around. So I'm actually an immigrant in Portugal. So I really get a feel of what you're saying,
Right.
It's relatable for sure, either way.
And it's great too. We'll be out there doing shows in Lisbon, Porto, and then we do shows on the islands, and people always ask how we do our shows. I'm like, look, we do it the way we do it here, English with some broken Portuguese.
Okay.
But we have a lot of fans on vacation that are out there, so they'll come to the shows. But we have locals that come because they have family that live outside of Portugal. They, are still communicate with them, and they get those, the Port English words where, we're not saying loja, we're saying stua, which isn't a real word. Portuguese somehow made that a word, but they get it because they have family that live there and they get these nuances. And again, some of the sketches isn't so much about being an immigrant, but it is about just like how Portuguese dads react to, getting a tattoo. I mean, that's just as universal as it can be, but it gets everyone involved because it doesn't have to be an immigrant experience. It's just, hey, this is how Portuguese dads react with, this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really nice. And I can imagine, like, in the events and things, you really bring like a sense of a community, I think. And I think comedy is a really nice way to bring people together and to share a laugh and to sort of, yeah, that's true, and relatable, It's very nice.
100%. And then, of course, being kids of immigrants, I think there is this, it's like a badge of honor, especially when we do our shows. You really just feel this sense of, because, immigrant kids, not just Portuguese immigrants, any immigrant kid has more responsibility responsibilities. They've got way more at stake. Their parents have this sacrifice that they did. You really have a lot of like weight on your shoulders. You got to do well in school, and you also have to help take care of your siblings. You have to help translate at the doctor. You have to translate the bills. It's like this really tough upbringing because especially the first generation, we've helped our parents just as much as they helped us. So we do have like this. I feel like we joke about it at our shows. We're like, it's not just comedy; it's a little bit of therapy. It's cathartic. People come in here and we'll do a bit, and they'll literally pull us aside after the show and say, "Man, I cannot believe you guys just did that. Like, I thought I was the only one that had to suffer through something like that." It's like, no, I mean, we all did. We all went through this together. We're just in our own separate ways, but still together as a community.
Yeah, and locally, what is it that? Because I'm sure that most people came over to the area that you live. They came over in, I'm guessing, boats, right? Or did they come over in
It was
an
a
area?
mix.
Mostly planes in our area. In
Okay.
In California, it was mostly ships for sure.
Yeah.
Back in the early 1900s, but our parents came in that third wave rather in the 70s.
Okay.
So they flew over, and in New England, there's so many Portuguese descendants, tons from the Azores. That's where our parents are from. And like our whole community, this whole area, this region is so impacted by the Portuguese culture that it's everywhere. Like you can buy, costela, which is pork meat. You can buy a chorizo sandwich at a gas station, locally here in Florida. And like you can order a pizza from a major chain, Domino's Pizza, national chain. You can order it with linguiça. Like that's the kind of impact that we've had in this area where, especially with our culinary, the food has really made an impact in this area because now you've got hybrid foods here. We've got restaurants that serve, Chinese food with linguiça and the fried rice. So it's like it's
so
really
good.
unique, and it really makes for a great upbringing because we've got all these different cultures. But because of our family being so thick in Portuguese culture, we kind of held on to that as well. So we've learned to appreciate a lot.
What was the majority of the Portuguese? They came over in, I'm guessing you're saying sort of waves, so they would come over as big family groups, or there'll be lots of friends and relatives all from the Azores. There'll be one plane and everybody coming out. And what were they doing in the US? What were they sort of the majority of work that they were?
It really depends where they landed. If they went to California, it was most certainly they were working in the farms, dairy, a lot of dairy farms in California that are very heavily influenced by the Portuguese culture for as far back as the 1800s. So you've got that, and then for our end, you've got, of course, the manual labor jobs, construction, landscaping. That was very big, especially in New Jersey and New York area. Tons of Portuguese people do construction and landscaping there. And then where we're from, heavily was at the time heavily involved in textile and manufacturing.
Okay.
So we used to have tons of factory workers, and they were the majority of them were immigrants. Our whole city, Fall River, is built by immigrants, and it started with English immigrants, and then from there went to French Canadian, and then from there went to Lebanese, and so eventually the Portuguese were the last big wave of immigrants to come to Fall River in the 70s and 80s, and basically we kind of took over the city. Like every neighborhood, we used to have these separate neighborhoods. Now, like every neighborhood is just like Portuguese are everywhere. But yeah, that's kind of is definitely a mix, but in our area, mostly manufacturing and factory work.
Yeah. I'm reading your names, Brian and Derek. Not very Portuguese.
Not at all.
Not at all. But
At
last name
all.
Martins and de Melo. Yeah. So what do you think why do you think your parents wanted you to be more Americanized when they named you? Or?
100%.
That, and just it was a little, the popular names at the time.
Yeah.
So I actually make a joke about that in my stand-up. I was like, my dad is José Manuel Martins. My mom is Idalena Conceição Sardina Martins. Brian. Two big Portuguese names, Brian. Although Derek's story of how he got his name is pretty epic. He can say it.
It's not, I wouldn't even call, I mean, it's epically dumb, I think I would say. Like I asked my mother, like, where did you come up with Derek? And she's like, do you remember that it was a TV show in the 70s called Chips, which is California Highway Patrol. And the lead was a very handsome Mexican gentleman by the name of Eric Estrada. So that was what my name was supposed to be, was Eric. And then right before I was born, my godmother had seen the word Derek in a magazine and thought, instead of Derek, why not Derek? And then my mom was like, okay. And that's the story of how I became Derek.
Yeah, because it's not the traditional way of spelling Derek either.
No, it's not, which is funny because I growing up, it was like, man, some people have trouble spelling their Portuguese name. Like, no, my parents couldn't even pick an easy English name to spell. Like, I've never had Derek spelled correctly ever. I will type my name in a text message and they will reply back, hey, Derek. I'm like, God damn it. Like, why can't you just get Derek right? But it definitely makes for a funny story. And, oddly enough, or I should say funnily enough, my mother, who has a thick accent, she's never pronounced my name Derek. It's always been Derek.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Because
can't really pronounce those R's.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have two R's either in your name.
Yeah. So it's Derek.
And
Derek.
Brian.
Yeah, and I'm sure Brian, people say your name is Martins.
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 Yeah, but it was always just Brian. Oh, Brian.
Or sometimes they say Brain.
Brain. They would write my name Brain, which happens all the time. I have a credit card that says Brain Martins.
Really?
Okay. If you're Portuguese, though, it makes more sense. Like Brian.
I know.
So I was like, Brain.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. So, guys, do you ever think about moving, or at least part of the year, back to somewhere like the Azores, or it would just be too slow paced for you?
No, that's definitely on the radar for us. Eventually, having some property out there on the islands for ourselves, and just maybe to explore other options like a Portuguese Kids Airbnb. Who knows? But we do have dual citizenship in Portugal that we recently just got done, and you don't know what the future holds, but we do have property in Portugal on the radar, because that's just the island life once you're there. Even the mainland, I love the continent as well. So as long as I can stay in one area and still explore it all and have a home base, then I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Oh, you're going to find a good... sorry, go on, Derek.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, because you're actually getting quite a lot of Americans moving to Lisbon, and your fans are already moving over here. They're coming.
We see that actually, yeah. And my wife has literally been watching this woman called Morgan in Portugal. She's this content creator. And her husband, Louis, he's from Fall River, or rather he was, I think, born in Portugal, but he was raised in Fall River. She's not Portuguese at all. They just moved out there and they've been doing this great content. And my wife is just like, let's go to Portugal.
Yeah.
Let's move out there. So we have definitely talked about at least part of the year,
that would be good.
Doing that, because it's just something that we love. We love it out there. Honestly, it's just, it's a different pace, and not to get into the politics side, but even just like health wise, like it's just I drink Fanta orange soda here, and it's fluorescent orange, and then you go to Portugal and it's just a natural orange, and you're just like, we're getting killed out here in America. Like there's literally no.
But our chemicals make our food taste better.
Yes, sure, you can argue that.
Or at least look good anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, I don't know what it is. Like, there's so many people moving up here. I don't know whether it's just the things that I follow on the Instagram. You never know with these things.
Right.
But it seems to be a really good vibe, and people sort of searching around. And I don't think there is you know what? We're always sort of conditioned almost to have to live in one place. It's like, why do we have to live in one place? Like, it's such a cool idea.
We can have multiple places.
Yeah, why not? We have a bit there.
And we have some friends in our circle who live in the States. They love where they live. Obviously we love living here, and they just have a second home in Portugal. They'll go for a couple of months.
Yeah,
and then just come back when the when the weather gets better and they don't have to shovel snow.
Yeah, exactly.
And even Lisbon with kids, like they've got American style, like English speaking schools. Like now, like it's crazy how many people are going to Lisbon specifically. Like there's I've been reading, and there's like whole neighborhoods that are just expats, just a bunch of Americans, and the whole their neighbors upstairs and downstairs are all from America. It's pretty interesting to see. I'm sure the locals hate it. I understand completely, but for us, making the American money, like it really does go much farther in Europe.
Yeah, I mean it does. There is a few of the political characters, they like to make a big meal of it, like everybody's coming over here and buying up all the property, and Portuguese can't afford their own house.
Right.
And there's some validity to that.
There is some truth in that, but it's you got to see what people bring to, when people move in. We need people, we need people in this country. We need people in Portugal. So, people need to move in and take jobs and bring things and make industry and stuff like what you're doing. We need it.
Right.
Okay.
It's the only way we'll survive.
Yeah. There's going to be teething problems with anything, but, I don't.
And nowadays, with people working from home, it's, like you can work anywhere. So I totally see the appeal of living out abroad and just, it's just a whole different pace, especially being an American. It is just a very hustle type of environment where you really it's a rat race, out here. And you got to always, especially I feel like in the West Coast, it's a little bit more lackadaisical, but like here, it's just in the East Coast, we're very intense a lot. So you just get stressed out easily. So it's definitely, I see the appeal. I've always seen the appeal, but now more than ever at my age, I'm like, man, I need to get some more Portugal in my life.
Yeah, I mean, if I looked out the window now, well, it'd actually be dark now. But if I look, we literally live in a farm in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes I can go for like 7-10 days without seeing anybody else, without speaking to anybody else. So when I do a podcast, I'm like, someone to speak to.
human contact.
Yeah,
I don't have to talk to the farm animals.
Yeah, exactly. So if I sound a bit excitable, yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So guys, tell us, when you're coming to Lisbon, what I'm going to do on the show notes of this podcast, I'm going to make a link to your website because I checked it out. It's a really cool website and it has all of your dates and tours and it's very professional.
Oh, thank you.
So I'll leave a link on there. And also we'll do a few Instagram posts and stuff like that. I saw one the other day when you had your dates on Lisbon because I think, my listeners would really appreciate coming to see you guys, and I'm sure they'll really enjoy it.
Oh, we would love that. So on the 16th we're in Porto and 17th we're in Lisbon, and we do our comedy is a lot of people and we love to surprise them because they see the videos and they think it's one thing, but what we do in our shows is literally completely different. We do sketches on stage, but we also heavily use improvisation and we do audience participation. We bring them up on stage with us, and it is some of the most fun comedy that you could watch. Like we've had people, even non-Portuguese people, and even like super Portuguese people who don't even speak any English at all would come up to us over the last couple of years and just be like, wow, like blown away by what you guys have done with the improv. So for us, it's just so much fun because every show is different. Literally every show is different because we ask the audience for their suggestions and we go where they tell us to go. So we would love it. We'd love to see some of your fans at our show.
Brilliant. Well, guys, I really appreciate your time and sorry about the mix-up this morning. I'm going to tell the listeners because it was quite funny.
That's hysterical.
I got my plus 5 hours mixed up with minus 5 hours. So I was sitting here going...
I woke up this morning. I was like, oh, no, did we miss this? I was about to message Brian.
I haven't had my cafe yet.
Yeah, and I was really stressing because I thought, so lucky because I nearly tried to find your phone number and give you a call. But then I realized after it's like 5 o'clock in the morning where you are. So you wouldn't have appreciated it. But so I'm glad we managed to work it out, and apologies for that.
Not at all. No worries. And the pleasure was ours. Anytime.
Yeah, great. Guys, really appreciate your time, and thank you so much. Really nice to talk to you. And we're going to try to make it up to Lisbon for sure for your show.
Oh, that's great.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome. Love to meet you in person. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Derek. This is Justin West from Podcast Portugal. Out.
I got the pen, I got the sheet, I got my plan, I got my screen. Someone tell me, please.
This episode is brought to you by Flow Sports and Flow Grappling, the streaming platform dedicated for fans of grappling, rugby, basketball, volleyball, swimming, cycling, and much more. If you're into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you'll want to head straight to Flow Grappling. They stream all the major events, IBJJF, ADCC, WNO, and the Pan Ams. And yes, even the IBJJF European Masters, where you could have watched me win gold. Tap the link in the show notes or go to podcastportugal.com to subscribe and get access to all the action. Ditch the plastic and the toxins. Mother's Earth dishwasher papers are made from non-toxic, eco-certified materials, so they're safer for your home, your health, your family, and the planet. No bulky plastic bottles, no waste, just clean dishes, shipped anywhere in Europe, and 3 times cheaper than those toxic tabs you buy in the supermarkets. Click the link in the show notes to start saving. Simple, secure currency transfers from once-in-a-lifetime property purchase of your dreams to everyday expenses. Currencies Direct helps you save time and money on international transfers. Rated excellent on Trustpilot with over 17,000 positive reviews. Spend like a local with their multi-currency MasterCard. Tap the link in the show notes to get started.